Welcome to today's session on eNotebook. So our today's topic is CLOZE test. As I said, in English language, CLOZE test is one of the areas where most of the people find it very difficult to attempt. So the two things that are needed for CLOZE test are understanding the vocab, that is a must. And second is understanding the context of the passage. Many a times, even grammar can help in fill in the blanks. So here we have another CLOZE test for you. Reading the whole passage, it may be better to consider the effect of a large-scale exchange of weapons which is dash in the context of current nuclear dash within a millionth of a second after a nuclear weapon is dash. Enough energy is released to heat the surrounding air to tons of millions of degrees Celsius, forming a hot dash, bubbles of gases, or a fireball. There is also a very intense dash, pulse which appears as a dash. Flash of light lasting for a few seconds. As the fireball rises, it spreads out to form the dash, mushroom cloud, and its dash. Creates irony dash at the ground level. This updraft containing dust, smoke, and radioactivity created by the dash forms the stem of the mushroom cloud. Now here, what I got to know after reading the passages, it is on nuclear weapons. That I could have found out after reading first few lines also. So it's not always required to read the whole passage. Sometimes when you get an idea about the passage from the first few lines, then you don't need to read the whole passage and you can directly start by reading the sentence which has the blank. So let's start with the first one. It may be better to consider the effect of a large-scale exchange of weapons which is dash in the context of. So here, after reading this much, here I have the options. Now what SSC does is, most of the times, and most of the exams would do the same, they give options which are very close to each other in meaning. But also, one good thing is that there are options which you can eliminate by just looking at them. For example, here in this case, he's talking about the effect of large-scale exchange of weapons, which is what? Can it be praiseworthy? No. So it is removed with the help of logic. Which is possible. Okay, I'll keep possible as an option. But what do these two mean? These two, specious and plausible. You have to have vocab skills for this. So specious and plausible mean anything which is looking reasonable, looking correct, but is actually not. So here, these two are the words which we think are most fit for the blank first. Because it may be better to consider the effect of large-scale exchange of weapons, which is right in the context of current nuclear dash, but which is right, but which is not actually. So now, if one knows the meaning of specious and plausible, we know that these two are the options which are fit for the blank first. And so we eliminate the option of possible. So specious and plausible, both of them mean almost the same. They mean any statement or anything which is looking logical, which is looking reasonable, but is not actually so. So here, I am now doubtful about whether the answer is specious or plausible. So here, that's where, the concept of knowing the words in depth comes into use. So here, we know that plausible is used in positive context, while specious has a negative connotation. So in this passage, we are talking about the effect of large-scale exchange of weapons, which has to be a negative thing. So our option here will be specious. So that is the way to select the answer. Moving ahead for the next blank, read the sentence in the context of current nuclear dash. Now here I can directly mark the answer as stockpiles because stockpiles is a large accumulated stock of goods or material which is kept in reserve for use at the time of shortage or used in the times of emergency. Now stockpiles is a word which you'll find mostly used with nuclear weapons. So wherever we talk about nuclear weapons, we say it is a stockpile of nuclear weapons. So here the answer will be option A, that is stockpiles. So what are these other words? Now, hoards. Hoards is a collection of money which is, guarded or kept safely. Inventories is a stock of raw material for a business or for a purpose. So here the most suitable option would be option A, that is stockpiles. Moving ahead, nuclear stockpiles within a millionth of a second after a nuclear weapon is dash. We don't burn a nuclear weapon. Even sparked cannot come here because spark means A small particle which is thrown off from a fire. That is called spark. Or how do we use it in a sentence? We can say, we can use it like the explosion sparked a fire. Means to bring out, or to a particle that is thrown out, or something that comes out of something, of the explosion, the particle sparked. So that's how we use it in a sentence. So these two options are eliminated. Now we have, now a nuclear weapon is never stuck. It is detonated. How do I know that? Because I know the meaning of detonated is to explode. Now for SSC, learning vocab is not a big task, because what all you have to do is collect all the words that have been asked from last, say, 10 years and just learn the synonyms and antonyms of those words. So it's not really a great task. So please don't get worried about coming across a new word every time. All you need to do is just make a list of all the words that have been asked, or you can do so while practicing the previous year questions as well. So here detonated means to explode. So a nuclear weapon is detonated. Next, enough energy is released to heat the surrounding air to tons of millions of degrees Celsius, forming a hot dash. Hot, light? Definitely not. Buoyant means something very light. Again, so this also cannot be the option. Forming a hot, cheerful? Definitely not. So this one was very easy to crack. The answer will be scalding. These options can be easily eliminated. So our answer is scalding. Now know the meaning of scalding as well. Scalding means something which is very hot. Scalding means something which is very hot or something which is burning. Scaled is a noun. In a sentence, it can be used like, scaled the tomatoes so that they can be peeled. So that means to burn them. Moving ahead, here we have scaled, bubbles of gases or a fireball. There is also a very intense dash pulse which appears. Now since we have talked about something burning here we have all the words which mean something which is hot or something which burns. That's what I said. Understanding the context is also important. Now here we talked about nuclear explosion. So thermal is the suitable option when we talk about nuclear explosions. Now when we also take a hint from this fact that we are using intense before it. Intense thermal pulse would be the most suitable option, because intense boiling can be eliminated, intense warm can be eliminated, though you might get confused in these two, but the more suitable one would be thermal. Reading ahead, there is also a very intense thermal pulse which appears as a dash flash of light lasting for a few seconds. Now here light is being talked about, so I remove thick and brilliant easily. Next, I am left with streaking and clear. Now, if you know the meaning of streaking, streaking means different colors of lights which are very close to each other. Now, this kind of view you can find if you go out in a city at night. You can find different colors and very thin lines of different colors. Now, since light is being talked about here, streaking would be the more suitable options out of the two available here. So I'll mark streaking as my correct option for the blank 6th. Now reading further, streaking flash of light lasting for a few seconds. As the fireball rises, it spreads out to form the dash mushroom cloud. Now here, as something is spreading out, I know it's not peculiar, it is not strange, it is not distinctive, it has to be overpowering because it is spreading quickly. So it is intense and it is strong and it is overwhelming. And so I will use the word overpowering, because nowhere I get a hint that it is peculiar, strange, or something very distinct. Now please note here that here we have a homonym for assent. Assent, there are two types of assent that we have that we pronounce in the same way, but the spellings are different. This assent means to agree, while this assent means going up or climbing up. Now here in option 8, we have 4 options which almost mean the same. Now this is where people get confused. And this is where knowing the usage of the words comes into use. Now here in this case, you know that something is spreading out. What is that something? It is a mass of gases from the nuclear explosion. It will go up, right? So we won't use the word increase, growth, or expression here. Obviously, it has to go up, and thus we use the option assent here. And its assent creates irony dash at the ground level. Now here, the options are friction, suction, absorption, engulfing. So looking at in the grammar sense, I can remove engulfing here immediately. Next, I have these options. Now, since the competition has increased so much, you cannot expect a story-based cloze test. Your knowledge will also be tested. Knowledge at the basic level, something that we all learn. It doesn't matter which background you choose later, but something we all know is that when something goes up, the pressure is built due to this thing that is going up, right? Now here, what was happening? The nuclear explosion happened. It spreads out to form the overpowering mushroom cloud, and its ascent creates irony. And what else at the ground level? It has to be suction, because suction means pressure. And due to something that is going up, pressure is being created at the ground level. So I remove friction, absorption, and engulfing. Moving ahead, this updraft containing dust, smoke, and radioactivity created by the dash forms the stem of the mushroom cloud. Created by, what we know is that this paragraph is about nuclear explosion. So here the answer obviously has to be explosion, because the dust, smoke, and radioactivity containing updraft has been created by the explosion. So that is the way of doing a cloze test, which tests your overall skills of, handling a paragraph, of understanding it, of knowing the vocabulary. So this was a cloze that tested your vocab skills, that tested your basic science skills as well as your understanding of the context of the passage. Thank you.
If you like the video, please hit the like button, comment, and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe for all our future videos.